Welcome back to the King's Corner, the place for all things Bethesda. I am the KingFanMan, and this is the KingCast, the live podcast where we cover the latest Bethesda news. And man, we've got a lot to cover today. If you love Bethesda and you're not subscribed yet to the KingFanMan channel, why not? Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Today, I've got an amazing co-host. I'm going to let him introduce himself here in just a minute, but his name is Red Wolf Renegade. He does amazing gaming content. By the way, I want everyone to go subscribe to him. His link is down in the description below. It's also in the pinned chat. So, Red Wolf, what should I call you?
You can just call me Red. Everyone just calls me Red.
Red. Okay. Well, introduce yourself. Yeah. Tell us what all about your channel and where they can find you and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I run a channel called Red Wolf Renegade, and I cover all things RPGs, Bethesda games. I am also a huge fan of the Stalker series, and because it sort of embodies a lot of the stuff that I love about Fallout, but more of a big boy Fallout, I guess. So I cover literally everything. As you can see, I got the Witcher medallion. I'm a huge Witcher fan. I just cover all kinds of RPGs, but really focused on things like Starfield. And Bethesda, really, that's really it, man. Yeah, and I've have had a lot of support lately, and I really appreciate you having me on in the midst of all that, man. So thank you.
Absolutely. And like I said, he is doing amazing, but he needs more subscribers. So y'all go subscribe to him. Hit that link there in the pinned comment. Today we're going to cover a lot of things. We're going to talk a little bit about Fallout 76. Not much going on right now. We're going to talk Starfield 2.0. And I'm really anxious to get your thoughts on the new Starfield, what we've got coming. We're going to talk Elder Scrolls 6, leaks, and insider information. We're going to talk about what Todd Howard has said lately about Fallout 5 and more. And plus, hopefully, we're going to get to your comments and questions. But as y'all know, when I have a guest like this, I cannot talk to y'all as much. So remember those super chats. Go to the front of the line if you got really a question or comment you want answered. Throw it on a super chat, and we will get to it. All right, let's start with Fallout 76. Right now, remember the Holiday Scorch is going on through Thursday, January 6th. And then January 6th, that is Tuesday, starts the Mutated Public events. That runs through the 13th, and also Gold Rush is Thursday the 8th through January the 12th. One thing I wanted to say about Fallout 76 before we get off of it, last year when the Fallout TV show, I guess that was last year, whenever the Fallout TV show season 1 was, they went to 1 million players in one day. Well, they haven't had that quite big of a surge yet, but the numbers are up 60% already since season 2 has come out. So the numbers are pretty amazing for Fallout 76 right now. In fact, there are over 400,000 active players right now in Fallout 76. Just wondering, do you ever play Fallout 76, Red?
I do, and Colt's in chat. I see he's gonna be mad. He's like, "You hate me. You don't want to play with me anymore."
Hey, Colt, what's going on, buddy?
I love Fallout 76, but I'm so caught up in. I went through the entire Stalker trilogy, beat it twice, did all the achievements, and then I got hooked on Metro again. So I'm one of those people I can't just like juggle two of very similar genres at the same time. I'm close to being done with Metro Exodus, and then I will get back on 76 and play with you, Colt, and everyone else. I can't wait to get into it. There's so much to catch up on with Fallout 76, and it's so intimidating. And I always feel bad like whenever I want to jump on with friends and they're off doing like in the middle of a whole quest, and I'm like, can we go back to the very first expansion and do everything that you've already done 100 times already? But so I need to get caught up and do that kind of stuff, probably just on my own time, because the last time that I played, it was the heist. I think it might have been like Wastelanders whenever that.
Oh
that came
man,
on.
Yeah, you definitely need to play. Golly.
But I have jumped on and like, dabbled in a few things here and there. And then the Ohio, the Burning Springs came out, and I was like, God, I want to get back on that. But as soon as I'm done with Metro, I'm going to jump onto that, because I did start Fallout 4 survival mode, and I'm like obsessed with that. And I'm like, now do I have to juggle 2 Fallout games? But yeah, I don't even know if I answered your question.
You did.
Yeah,
you did.
I want to get into
what
it,
platform do y'all play on? Colt, what platform do you play on? Xbox or PC? I'm on PC, so I do have an Xbox
Colt's
character.
mainly on PC nowadays. I think.
Colt,
and I'm on Xbox.
Friend me. I'm KingFanMan 1 on PC. We'll have to play together.
There you go.
And I'm
There you go.
just KingFanMan on Xbox, so either way we can play together. All right, let's jump
Absolutely.
into Starfield. What's going on with Starfield? I watched yours and Colt's great video on what Starfield could do to be better, and I'm anxious to see how much this 2.0 that Bethesda is doing is going to be. There are those out there like IGN that are saying you better temper your expectations. But then I've talked to people that were at the event that are very excited. Now they won't tell me what they saw, of course, but they are very excited for it. My number one question, and I know we're going to get into space travel, and that's the main thing they were working on. Do you think they're going to do something with the points of interest? That's my biggest complaint, I guess you could say, about Starfield. There needs to be more points of interest or a better variety. Are they going to address that?
Mhm.
That's my
I think that they
question.
would have to, because my dream scenario, something that could realistically be thrown into the mix, literally, is they already have randomized points of interest in Starfield, because you can find the same points of interest on different planets,
Yeah.
and that is why people hate it so much. That you can find that cryo lab. If I see that cryo lab one more time,
The
I am going to
listening
flip
post, yeah, or
a
the
list.
listening post.
Yeah, every time. So what I think that they could do, if they are really putting their heads down and they're building these individual spaces, that they could say, you know what, we're adding 300 new points of interest
Yes.
into the mix, and just have those types of free content updates like every few months. Here's another 20 points of interest, and just keep building the universe.
Yes.
And honestly, I'm someone who I appreciate. Now, I got Shattered Space for $10 because I got the deluxe edition or whatever. So I didn't pay the $30. I thought that it was well worth 10 or 15
Yeah.
bucks. And I would love to see more expansions that are the size of Shattered Space to sort of flesh out the universe. Because I thought Shattered Space was great. Again, for 10 to 15 bucks. It didn't shatter my space, but it was great. It was really great. But yeah, I think that they would have to do something with the points of interest, because if Bethesda starts building on the universe of Starfield, and then we have all these new biomes and whatnot, and there's that cryolab again. I'm like, dude, you didn't change anything.
No.
So the answer is yes. I think that they would have to. Yeah.
Well, sadly, also, and I forget, I knew how many points of interest there were, and my memory just flew out of my head. But the way they have the randomized points of interest, you do run into the same like three all the time, because they wanted to make it where it's more spectacular if you run into these others. But I promise you, some people have never run into some of them because you run into
Yep.
the same two or three every time. Well,
Yeah.
we know they are focused on space travel and changing the space travel, making it more seamless. You and Colt also talked about, even if they don't give us true interplanetary travel, they could at least hide a lot with, instead of loading screen, make new animations where the loading screens, you don't see them anymore. But with all that said, I really want to get into now what is being said is that they're updating the Creation 2 engine, so there will be less loading screens, not just for Starfield, but for the Elder Scrolls 6 and for Fallout 5. And they're even talking about bringing in Unreal Tech into the Creation 2 engine. What do you think about that? I'm excited to see what all they're doing with it, and certainly excited for less loading screens for Starfield and for future games.
Yeah, I think like I sort of mentioned behind the scenes, the Creation 2.0, the upgrade to Creation Engine, I believe is something that it's absolutely going to happen. And what better way to test that engine upgrade if they use Starfield as the testing bed, and then that works for Starfield, and we have this one big map with the Elder Scrolls 6. It works. It's definitely going to work with the Elder Scrolls 6, because that there's going to be so many. I mean, Bethesda's games, they're run on system after system after system. There's so many like moving parts. I mean, people can say that they love Bethesda's games as RPGs. I've always looked at them as like simulations with
Yes.
RPG elements. We don't get a lot of RPG depth with Bethesda games, and that's okay. They are games meant to give you 100% agency. You go out, you be who you want, do whatever you want, and that's sort of why. creation engine might struggle sometimes with all those systems. And I feel like using the graphical side of Unreal Engine to have like a layer over top of creation engine, just like they did with the Oblivion remaster, would be great. I think that that would be a really smart move. So I'm curious if they're going to use Virtuo Studios, because there's like a million employees over at Virtuo Studios. They got to have at least one guy to help them out with that. So I'm curious if they'll do that.
They're
So
busy
I'm
with
really
Fallout
excited.
3 remastered and Fallout New Vegas remastered. I bet you.
That's right. Put it in the universe. We need it. Yeah.
I know most people are worried when you start talking about updating the Creation 2 engine. Most people are worried about modding. Is this going to affect modding? Will we still be able to mod it the way we do now? I believe yes. I don't think they would ever sacrifice two things with the Creation 2 engine. And I've been a proponent of the Creation 2 or the Creation engine for a long time. People say, "Oh, they need to change." Well, there's two things that are the lifeblood of Bethesda games. Number one is the modding, of course, and number two
Yep.
is that you can pick up, touch all the items in a Bethesda world. That those two things make a Bethesda game different than any other studio. So I don't think they're going to sacrifice those, but I want them to hear from you as well. Do you think they're going to sacrifice modding for any graphical update?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, it will never happen because they know it. Todd Howard for years has always said, like, we build games because we want them to be played for 10 plus years, like, and they always use Skyrim as the example. And Skyrim being the main example, people are still playing New Vegas modded and Fallout 3 modded. Starfield, whether people want to believe it or not, those people should go look, because Starfield has insane mods, and it has such insane modding support, especially with paid mods. People are they're paying their water bills with the with the work that they're, as Colt would say, as they work really hard on these creations. And a lot of them are worth it. You spend $1 here and there, and you don't have
Yes.
your achievements disabled. I was one of the people that actually contacted Bethesda directly and said, I'm fine with paying for this, but don't disable something. Don't take anything away from us.
Right.
Some people want to feel that sense of completion. Like, I completed this quest line, I got the achievement, I check it off, whatever. And they listened. It was great. But having said that, they know how important the modding scene is. They're not going to sacrifice that ever. That's never
Absolutely
going to
not.
happen.
Now,
Yeah.
Starfield
So,
has some amazing creations, not mods now, they're creations, but like the
yeah.
Watchtower. And I've played several others other than
Yep.
Watchtower that are really, really good. And like you said, $3 or $4, you can get these. So getting into the space travel, what do you think specifically? Do you think we're going to get that interplanetary travel, or Tim Lamb said it's going to be more rewarding, so I believe that means more randomized encounters while you're space traveling. I do believe
Yeah.
we're going to be able to go planet to planet and all that, but boy, interplanetary travel, that would just be wonderful if they could pull that off.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I think my camera froze. I'll fix that while I talk. Yeah, I think one of the things that I would like to see with interplanetary travel would have to be, like, I wonder if it's going to be automated, or if it's going to be like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, we've seen I don't know if you've seen the Astrogate mod.
I have
Have you seen
not.
that?
No.
So basically, like, you're flying at like lightning speed towards a planet, but the planet is getting closer and closer towards you. I mean, it's essentially what No Man's Sky looks like.
Oh,
It's
okay, great.
basically exactly that. And if a modder can do it, why isn't Bethesda doing it? Like,
Yes.
that's always been one of the things. It's like, if one dude really sat there and took his afternoon and tried to make something that was what the people wanted, why can't Bethesda do that?
Amen. 100%.
Yeah, because the issue with Starfield is that the Colt says leave Discord and come back in. Maybe I'll try that. Will that mess you up if I jump back in?
No, I don't think so. I think I can hang up with you and
Okay.
call you right back.
Yeah, do that. Do that.
Okay, we'll try that. We'll disconnect. How was your call? Well, it wasn't very good because I lost my guy. Now we'll see if it works for us. Yeah, Starfield. I'm excited
Love
for
it.
what's coming with Starfield. You're working out great. The one thing you talked about them adding to Starfield and adding to the points of interest. Sadly, I believe this is going to be the last DLC that they do for Starfield. And I think that's a shame. I know Todd said he wanted to support the game for 10 years and all that. I just don't know if Microsoft is going to let them do it because they've, and I hate to use this word, but they've wasted a lot of time with Starfield.
Yeah.
And we're talking money wise, okay? Microsoft wants Fallout, is what they want, and we're going to get to that. In fact, if Microsoft had their way, they'd probably tell Bethesda to skip Elder Scrolls and go to Fallout because it's what's
Right.
big right now. Do you see any way in them allowing them to keep working on Starfield, or do you think they're going to move on from Starfield after this DLC?
It's it's hard to say because whenever you're looking at it from like a corporate standpoint, you're only seeing numbers. And right now, the concurrent player base for Starfield is like around 4,000 people. It's really insane. And you compare that again to Skyrim, which is around 30,000
Yeah.
concurrent players. Even what was it? Comparatively, The Witcher 3 has around 10,000 to 14,000 concurrent players, and that's just on Steam, by the way. So they're looking at those numbers too,
Yes.
and that's what it all comes down to. And unfortunately, I mean, I always say Starfield is my dream game. Before that, it was No Man's Sky, and even then, it was so limited. But I'm like, this is the closest thing that we're ever going to get to it, right? But Bethesda is monetizing Starfield in a way. They are making money on Starfield with mods, because people are happy to take a percentage if they're being compensated for their time and effort
Yes.
with modding. But that is not enough for Microsoft, especially
No.
to say, "Wow, look at all that! Probably you made $5 this month. Good job, Todd."
Good
Like
job,
that's
Todd.
not. It's not enough. It's not enough. I don't know if they'll. It's hard, man. Like this was such a passion project, and people always want to use No Man's Sky again as the comeback kid story. Like that is the prime example of a team that put their heads down and said, "We're gonna have a big 2.0 moment. We're gonna blow everyone away, give them everything that they wanted." And the silence says a lot, but also it could be nothing. But dropping it entirely, man, like that would break my heart.
It would.
I just can't imagine. But if they rely solely on mods, like, will that be enough for people? Because
Right.
what would bring people back if they it's a the next DLC, Terran Armada, if it comes out and it's what would it do? Like I don't feel like an expansion is what would bring people back. It has to be the fundamental core aspect of Starfield.
Yes.
So if they bundled all those features in with the next expansion and said it's a whole new game, and then they see the player numbers rise, this could possibly be behind the scenes Microsoft saying, "You got one more shot.
One more
Put
shot.
your heads down, shut up, and if it doesn't do good, move on to Fallout 5 and the Elder Scrolls 6 and be done with it and continue with the modding support."
Well,
So
and
that's
they
what I
they
think.
do have the PlayStation ports coming with it, the Switch 2 ports coming with it, so that's going to bring
Yes.
new players in. So that will be good as well. Colt, if you're still around, I would like your opinion. What do you think? Are they done with Starfield? Are they moving on? I think they are, sadly. But as much as I love Starfield, I do like the Elder Scrolls and Fallout better. I have to admit, but I don't want them
Mhm.
to leave the game. So you do think the DLC
Yeah.
is going to be Terran Armada, and it's does that mean it's going to be mostly centered in space? Is it what do you think? Is it a the idea the name Terran Armada gives the idea of a bunch of ships to me, or
Yeah.
uh, several big ships. Do you have any idea what you think the DLC might involve?
I do, and this is gonna blow your
Good.
mind.
I'm ready.
So yeah, Colt says yeah, no more DLC after
I agree.
Terra Firma,
I agree.
Terra Nova. Um, he says that they need to go get everyone on
Everyone on
deck for
deck for
ES6 and
Elder
Fallout
Scrolls
5.
and Fallout.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. My personal theory, what I think Terran Armada is going to be, is if you think about the word Terran, like you would think true children of Earth, right? Like
Yes.
that in terms of like sci-fi talk,
Yes.
like a Terran, like you and I being a Terran. I think that the people, the children of Earth, the arcs that were sent away whenever the Earth was being, roughed up. We saw there is a quest in Starfield where you
Yep.
come across
The
the
one
the
ship.
the one ship, and they're the survivors of the original solar system of the Sol system. What I think Terran Armada is the children of Earth, those same types of people, but their entire fleet, and they're coming back to the system, to the Sol
Settle.
system,
Yep.
the settled
The
system. Thank
settled
you.
systems.
Yep. And they're like, we are the true children of Earth. Like, we're coming back to take this over. This is our galaxy. Like,
Yeah.
what
Get
have
out of
you
the way.
done? You know, and they're, what do you mean? Like, this is we built this up, and they're like, and it's gonna, I feel like it's gonna focus on more of like the cultish aspect of like what makes us human or whatever, and like you just settled here, you took over what was left over type of thing. Because I think the Starborn DLC is what we thought was coming next, but
Yes.
Terran Armada would tell me that it's going to be much more of like a Battlestar Galactica type thing. I don't
Oh,
think it'll
awesome.
mainly take place in space, but I think that is how it will begin, and hopefully we'll get some more Earth locations
Yes.
to explore and discover. I would love that. That's
Yes.
just my crazy theory. So yeah.
Maybe we get to battle one of those big spaceships too toward the end.
Oh
That would be
yes, like a big
great.
Star Destroyer. Oh
Yes.
dude, that'd be so cool.
Game
Yeah.
Seeker, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, "This is awesome. Glad to see you two sharing the same screen. Bethesda boys. I like it. Thank you
Yeah,
so much."
Game Seeker, he's so nice. He's one of the nicest dudes in the world, man.
He
God,
he
he's
he
he's great.
is, and I'm glad you're here. It's a tradition on the Kingcast. I don't know if you know this. We've done this since the very beginning. I don't know why. Don't know how it started, but we give a Walter when somebody gives a super chat. So
Stop pushing the damn button.
there you go. You get a Walter.
There you go.
That's normally my
Love it.
wife's. That's normally my wife's job. We'll get back to Starfield. If y'all have questions on Starfield, give them to us. We're going to move on to the Elder Scrolls right now. I want to talk about before we get into specifics about Elder Scrolls. I want to talk about release date because there is a lot being said about when this game is going to release, and a lot of different things being said about when Elder Scrolls is going to release. I'm going to throw some things out there to you, and then I want to get your opinion, Red. Todd Howard said in an interview, "It's still a long ways off," and that's what was the headlines. But in that same interview, Todd said this: "I like to just announce stuff and then release it. My perfect version," he said this, "is to say it's a long way off, and then one day, boom, the game's here." He said that in the same interview. He said it's a long way off. So people just focusing on it's a long way off. That's not all Todd said. Todd don't want to tell you when it's coming, okay? That's what you need to get. We also know that they've had 3-hour play tests for the Elder Scrolls. So we've known for a long time it's in a playable state. But then we have a leak and an insider. I don't know if you know Kiwi Talks, but he interviews people and he calls himself an insider. He says that you're not going to see the Elder Scrolls 6 until 2028 at the earliest, and there's a high probability it won't be out until 2029. And he said this is why they're not giving a rough date, because it would do more harm than good, especially after announcing the game too early. But then we just had a leaker that came out and said, nope, it's coming out 2026. It's coming out this year. So there's three things that we hear all over the place. When is it coming? Is it coming soon, or is it going to be 2029?
It's funny. Like, I think the first time that this worked so successfully was after the long awaited Fallout 4 happened, and that game was announced and then I think released like 4 months later, if you remember. Am I right? Somebody correct me in chat. Oh, there goes Todd Eastwood saying Fallout 4 reveals were so successful.
Yes.
I think it was like 4 months. Like they showed Fallout 4. He had the whole it just works,
Yes.
and then they released it 4 months later, and it was huge because the hype was still there. People weren't just like, well, I gotta wait a year and a half. You know what I mean? And then look what just happened with Oblivion Remaster. It was just Shadow Drop, just not Shadow Drop, but just boom, here you go, and it was super successful.
And by the way, they asked him about that in that same interview, and they said, "Is it possible that you might even do that with the Elder Scrolls?" And Todd said, "Well, worked pretty good for Oblivion."
Right, exactly, man. I mean, can you imagine? I mean,
It would break the internet. It would break the internet.
It would be massive, and I don't know, like there's two sides to it. There's the one side where that happens, where let's just say at the June showcase for Xbox, they finally, here comes Todd with his beautiful leather jacket,
He's
and he's
always
like,
going to be wearing a
"It does
jacket,
work."
even in
Yeah,
the
and he's
summer.
like, even in the summertime, he's just pouring sweat, and he's like, "I'm fine, everything, it just works." And they show the Elder Scrolls 6, and like, and it's coming out right now. Like that would be,
That would be
it
amazing.
would sell incredibly well. And then I feel like after that point, the future of game reveals and releases would dramatically change, because I feel like a lot of companies right now can't just look at Oblivion Remaster and say we can do that with everything, because
Yeah.
we always see indie games on Steam releasing, just here it is and it's releasing, people are like, I don't care about it. It really has to be tied to a legacy IP that's really
Yes.
popular. Like
Yeah.
imagine if GTA 6, they're like, here's the third trailer, it's out right now.
Now.
You talk about breaking the internet,
Yeah,
everyone would
go
just
get it
collapse.
now. You can play it today.
Yeah,
I have to.
right.
I
And
have
so,
to say,
yeah.
I met Todd Howard in Dallas, Texas, and it was in August. And yes, he was wearing a leather jacket in Dallas,
Course it was.
Texas, in August.
In
I
oh,
think it
in the
was
heat.
103 outside, and he had that leather jacket on.
He's got to have like those little battery powered fans just lining the inside of his jacket. Just he's just like floating above, just floating around because the fans are so powerful. But yeah, so there would be that scenario, and then there would be the scenario of they announce it, in 2027, and then it comes out that same year in December or something like that. It's hard to tell nowadays, because when something works so successfully, you're like, why wouldn't you just do that again?
Absolutely.
But
Do you think it? Do you think
and waste
it's?
money on marketing.
Do you think it's sooner than later, or do you lean toward what that Kiwi Talks is saying, 2028 or 2029? I have said 2027 all along, and haven't changed
I was
on
with
that.
you there too. Yep, and I'm actually 100% with you there. I think late 2027 is when we're gonna at least see it. Like, if it releases and he plays that same hand, and it will work. It is guaranteed to work. It is. There's no chance
Absolutely.
they drop it on a Friday. Oh man, everyone's weekend is done. It's over. You know what I mean?
Let me give y'all some hope for when the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out. And we can go back to the court case, the Microsoft court case, the old FTC documents that we all go back to.
Yeah.
There are 2 FTC documents. Now, I don't look at the dates at all. Of course, the dates, because of COVID and all kinds of things, got way off. But what you need to key on those documents, and by the way, someone even testified on them and said the same thing, they put 3 years in between Starfield and the Elder Scrolls. 3 years. Also, Todd Howard in a recent interview said this. He said, we always do pre-production while the other game's going on. So the Elder Scrolls was in pre-production while Starfield was going on. And then as soon as Starfield ended, around September or so of 2023, then because they start full production right before the game releases. So we know that the Elder Scrolls started full production in the fall or maybe even early summer of 2023. And then Todd says this. He says production takes from 2 to 3 years. And then we enter what's called a glue phase, and that lasts 6 months to a year. So at the most, with Todd talking, he said 4 years. Okay, that's at the most. So there again, if we fudge just a little bit, it's 2026. If we go all the way as far as Todd said, it's 2027. And I feel 2027 because I believe Microsoft is going to do the same thing they did with Starfield. I believe Bethesda wanted to release Starfield before they did, and Phil Spencer came in and said, no, let's get some more of those bugs out. And that's why we have a little bit of delay on there. Mm-hmm. But with all those numbers, with what was talked about in court, it's still 3. That's 3 years. That's 2026. That's this year.
Right. Yeah. And I remember, oh, what year was it, man? I want to say it was like 20, had to be like 20, I think it was 2019 is when it was, they had a showcase and the whole background was stars.
The rocket ship. I do.
Yeah. Yep. And I told everyone, I said, Starfield is going to show up because there were leaks about Starfield showing up, finally being shown. They had the whole backdrop set up, and then the leaks came out and said it was not ready. They pulled it at the last minute. And it was too expensive to take down everything that they had already set up. And we're talking like weeks before.
That was 2019 because that was before COVID hit, and then COVID messed everything up.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
I can't remember
so
what the
excited
question
with the
was.
background and the stars and then a rocket
I
ship.
was like, it's
Yeah,
happening.
it's
We're
happening. It's
finally gonna
here.
see it,
It's
man.
here.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's in a perfect world because yeah, now it's been 2 years for Starfield, and oh, I remember my point. Microsoft, if you look at the big lineup with Microsoft, and you think about cannibalization of genres that are the same. I was just talking about trying to juggle Metro and Fallout, like they're both post-apocalyptic games. Um, no one wants to play two fantasy RPGs side by side. Of course, I'm talking about Fable. And if
Yeah.
Fable is ready to be shown this year, now would be Fable's year, and next year would be Elder Scrolls year.
Yep.
And of course, you also had to think about March next year, or sorry, November of next year, GTA. So they
Yes.
have to get out of the way of that, which also pushes everything out of the way, including Elder Scrolls. We can say it all day long how much we love Elder Scrolls 6 and how hyped it is for a million years. GTA 6 eats everyone's lunch
I
nine
promise
nine days out of
we'll
the
get
week.
people in the comments go, no, Elder Scrolls don't back up from anybody. I guarantee you,
They
everybody
will.
runs from GTA. Everybody. Everybody.
Everybody. Yeah,
Even
exactly.
even the Elder
Even if it was
Scrolls.
exactly, and even if it was something like Red Dead Redemption, I mean, those Rockstar, they know everyone's moving out of their way. They can do whatever they want, and we just saw all these games getting delayed recently. It was because of GTA. And you can say, well, that announcement came before. These types of plans take time, right? You can't just say, hey, GTA just got delayed. We're delaying our game too. Like we're moving it. No, it takes time to kind of make these decisions. But back to Fable, I think that Fable this is Fable's year. That's just my speculation. And if it's Fable's year, Elder Scrolls is not gonna launch near it. Now it could be like a 6 month window, but again, that's still gonna push it out of 2026.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Colt also
Cool.
says the leak said the marketing was ramping up early 2026. Yeah, that we'd actually hear about it very, very soon. In fact, of course, doesn't Xbox have something in March? Some kind of little showcase, and they do one in March, and then they do one in June, I believe.
January. This month we're having a developer
That's
direct.
right.
And I think is it on the 22nd? Someone will correct me. I'm
So
pretty sure it's on the
we
22nd
might
or so.
find out if that leak is right very soon. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people are speculating that this 2.0 thing that's happening with Starfield is going to be revealed at this developer direct. It'll be like the big thing at the end of the showcase. But
Man.
we say that every single year, and who knows? I don't know. But the fact that they play tested that, had that behind the scenes thing happen so recently, I think that they're like, yeah, it sounds like people really like what they see. Let's push it out and show it at the June showcase alongside the release of PlayStation and
Yes.
Switch. So anyway,
Let
yeah.
me pick up a couple of chats. Unexpected outcome says my hope was, and she's talking about Starfield again. My hope was that the expansion would include the restoration and resettlement of Earth, or time travel. I always thought Shattered Space, and they're missing an opportunity here. This is spoilers if you haven't played Starfield yet, but it's your fault if you hadn't played it by now.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you go through the Unity and you literally go into another universe, I thought Shattered Space was going to be, it's going to be a shattered, universe that you go into, which would be a great setup for a whole DLC that when you go through, it's just totally, the Earth's different or whatever you want to focus on is just totally different.
Right, right. Shadow Space was really unique for what it was. Yeah, time travel stuff is really tricky though, especially in games of that scale. But they did do a lot of like what they did in Shadow Space with the what would you call them? Like the phantoms, like you're sort of seeing into the past
Mm-hmm.
with phantoms and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff. But I feel like time travel, just in my opinion, I feel like time travel stuff really works in much more linear focused games like
Yeah.
Quantum Break, like that the whole game was about that. But it could still be like an isolated thing, like an expansion, like a Shattered Space. But I totally get what you're saying there. I would still be happy with it. I would still love it if
Yes.
they pulled something like that off. Yeah.
We're going to get to the Fallout projects in just a minute, but let's finish up on the Elder Scrolls. Todd Howard said most of the studio, being Maryland, is working on TES 6. He also said there is a full team on Fallout and literally more people. There's hundreds of people working on Fallout. So some people get mixed up with this. And again, I get pushback every time I say Fallout 5 is in full development right now, but I promise you it's in full development right now. We're actually going to get into the numbers of employees at BGS Maryland, and y'all are going to be shocked how many are there now compared to how many were there last year. It's amazing. So they are running 2 games at one time. A couple of things. One, a article came out this week or last week, and I actually brought this up on the KingCast like three or 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where somebody counted the trees in Skyrim. Did you hear about this? That there's like 46,000 something trees in Skyrim, and Todd was asked, is there going to be more or less in the Elder Scrolls 6? And he said more, definitely more. Yeah. And some people were saying, well, then it's got to be in Valenwood or somewhere else. But we forget that Hammerfell is a jungle. Part of that region is a jungle. It's one of the most diverse regions in Tamriel. So with that said, let me give you one more thing, and then I'll get your comments. Angela Bauer, and this just blows my mind. I want to know what she's talking about. She is one of the lead devs there at BGS. And she was talking about how the industry had changed, how hardware had changed, the rendering had changed, all kinds of things have been upgraded. And she was just going on and on about how things had changed. But then 3 times she talks about she sees the Elder Scrolls 6 as an endless set of possibilities. And like I said, she says this 3 times about possibilities. And I was like, what is she talking about? Is she talking about what they are doing with Elder Scrolls 6 or what we're going to be able to do with the Elder Scrolls 6? What do you think she's talking about when she talks about Elder Scrolls 6 having an endless set of possibilities?
Well, I think, again, whenever I mentioned player agency, it is the number one focus in every Bethesda game.
Go where you want, do what you want.
Go where, as soon as you come out of the vault in Fallout 3, New Vegas, whatever, you don't have to, you can do whatever you want. You can go be a bad guy, you can go be a bounty hunter, you can go be a farm, play Skyrim, you can just go be a farmer and just live your life as a farmer. You can, you know what I mean? And then when mods come in, it's like, literally you can do anything. So there's that side of it where they're saying that the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to have even more player agency than ever before. I would love for them to have like an alternate start. I'm sure that you've seen the alternate start mods, and they're massively popular.
I've played it. Yep.
They're so good. I would love for them to have something like that, and you have the option to do the, let's just say you're the Dragonborn or whatever in Elder Scrolls 6. Like, this is the main quest. This is the main focus, start for the game, but then you can start off as a bandit in the woods or whatever, like that kind of stuff. Even if you didn't have those options, you still would be able to do them. And I feel like maybe that they're leaning into that more, and hopefully more stuff with morality choices.
Yes.
New Vegas did that the best.
The karma system.
When it wasn't Bethesda. Yep. Yeah, with the karma system, you could actually be a not a good person. And sometimes people really like to make sort of like the necessary evil decisions just to feel like they're really role-playing a real human being. So that way, whenever they do make the good decision, they feel like they're making more of a redemption rather than just being the goody two-shoes 100% of the time. And you're like, that's not how I want to be. You're playing Fallout 4 and you have the voice protagonist. It's the reason why a lot of people didn't like the voice protagonist, because he's like, where's my wife? Where's my kids? And I'm like, dude, I'm out here killing bandits and I'm like robbing people. And he's like, hey, how can I help you? And you're like,
that's not what I would say.
It's not what I would say at all. It's not how I would say it.
That was one complaint about Starfield. You couldn't really play the bad guy, especially with the allies. All the allies would get mad at you, if you tried to play the bad guy.
That was one of my biggest complaints of the game, was that every one of your companions was a goody two shoes, and I'm like, it's fine, it's okay if like I don't need like an evil pirate. That would be cool too, but like not everyone acts like that. Not everyone is just like da 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 da. It's like I want to have the morally gray character. You know what I mean? Where he's like, we got to do, sir. And it's like, I understand. I'm with you.
I think they really missed that with Andreja. She should have been the gray.
She was my favorite because she was the closest thing.
She was more gray.
To Yeah, absolutely loved her so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But on the other side of that, just to answer that other side of that question, if they were just talking about the Elder Scrolls 6, and then they're excited about what they can do with the game, you could probably say that about any game. So I don't even know what. It would worry me if they're like, we're still adding stuff and the possibilities are endless, and it's like, why are you adding stuff? You should just be focused on the core aspect of the game.
Finish the
So
game.
yeah, just finish the game first, please, please. Yeah. So
Well, the last thing I'll say, the leak talked about the ship building, and that's been talked about a lot. People think that there's going to be sailing and shipbuilding, but you can go back to Todd Howard's notes with Skyrim. On his handwritten notes, he wanted to have castle building, and you to have the ability to. It's basically settlement building in Fallout 4, but you're ruling your own little kingdom. And I suspect they're going to do something like that, either that or the shipbuilding or both. But my contention is get the RPG, the story, all that done first before you add all that. You can add all that other stuff in a DLC. Make the game good first.
right, exactly, and it's 100% good. I don't know about shipbuilding, but what Fallout. So this Bethesda always builds off of itself. It always sets it. It has its blueprint.
Yes.
It improves on it, and then it throws it into the next game. Right. This all started with Hearthfire and Skyrim. That's where the base building began, and it was much more of a kinetic base building, because you're literally going in building nails, and then you got to take the nails and they're like, let's just streamline it a little bit and just have things snap together. And then we got the famous, it just works. So Fallout 4 had base building, then they upped it even more base building and ship building, which I like screamed like a little girl when they showed that. I could not believe that.
Yes.
So if the leaks are true about where the game takes place in between Iliac Bay and Hammerfell, there's a large, it's tons of islands scattered out.
Yes.
And if we're going to be set loose onto an ocean, I would love for them to have a procedural generation, just massive open ocean, because then for sure, like you mentioned, at the core base of the game, it is what we love about Skyrim. It is everything handcrafted, the big cities, all the exploration on land and whatnot. I don't see why people would complain about that.
No,
But
I don't.
and a lot, like my good friend DeMarco always says, like, I do not want that. And I'm like, but what if everything on land is exactly what we expected? It's Skyrim, 3.0.
It's no different than the
times
way they
bigger.
do random encounters.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, like, Bethesda has been using, this could be a whole different conversation about AI. Bethesda has been using procedural generation since the very beginning of time.
Yes.
And for anyone who doesn't understand what that means, I know they essentially use procedural generation to sort of, it's like a big blob of Play-Doh spread across a bunch of gravel, and it's just this big, soft, no textures, no foliage, no fauna, nothing like that. And they have this big open world that they can then sculpt and curate, and then start adding trees and adding roads and adding buildings and blah blah blah. That could be something that they could do, and they have done that. I promise you, they did it with
Yes.
Starfield. They're doing it with the Elder Scrolls 6. But I would love for them to have. And Colt broke it down really well in his video. The leak was saying about it's more of a settlement building, so it's more focused on like what
Yes.
Fallout did. So you'll have like a big. You could start off with like a little fort in the woods, like a little cabin in the woods, and then it builds up to be this big walled city. I love that so much, man. I love that. And a lot of people are like, but what if it takes away from the core experience? You don't have to engage, man. You don't have to engage with base building in Starfield. You don't have to build a single
Yes.
ship in Starfield. You do not have to engage with that. So I said a lot, but it's exciting. I would love it.
You
man.
and Colt got into in y'all's video, and I recommend it. They did an excellent video on Starfield. Go check it out on Red's channel. But y'all talked about where Starfield, you can't break down the materials like you do in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76.
Yes.
That was so disappointing to me.
Oh.
It takes a whole aspect of the game out and part of the game loop out. That would be
when you started the game. Were you immediately picking up scissors and pencils and cups and stuff?
I picked up
Starfield?
every piece of duct tape I could get.
I did too. As soon as I saw duct tape, I was like, "Oh, I'm getting that." I already know what, and you can't do anything with it.
Can't
I'm
do
like,
anything
"Come
with
on,
it."
man.
And
So
every
disappointing.
duct tape weighed 5 pounds anyway.
It's ridiculous. He's got a backpack full of duct tape. What do you got, Andrasia? I don't like that.
Matt
Yeah.
made a comment here about the hiring that BGS has done. Hold on, Matt. I'm going to get into that. You're absolutely right. But the last thing I'll say about Elder Scrolls is Angela Bauer ended with this. She said, "When our fans get to see it and play it, especially those who are lifers, and I would call us lifers. We've played,
Yes.
3 or more of their games. They will see just how far we have come." And she's talking about the endless possibilities. So you could tell that she was excited for the game, and that gets me excited. Let's move on to Fallout. Everybody wants to talk about Fallout. Microsoft wants to talk about Fallout. And here we're going to talk about a lot of hiring going on inside of Bethesda Game Studios and also inside of Obsidian, too. Obsidian's kind of hiring a lot of Fallout people back. But Todd said, like I said before, that there are hundreds of people working on Fallout. In fact, even though he said the majority of the people at Maryland are working on the Elder Scrolls, Todd said this in a recent interview to Game Informer: Fallout is the top priority. Now, I want y'all to get that and underline it in your head. Even though the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming first, Microsoft has told them that Fallout is the top priority. And we're going to see that in just a minute with 8 Fallout projects going on right now. 8 Fallout projects, which is just,
That's nuts.
yeah, it's mind-blowing to think about. But let me talk about the hirings real quick since Matt brought that up. I've got them somewhere. I always have all kinds of notes and I can't find them, but I can remember this one. In 2025, Maryland had around 450 devs. Did y'all know at the end of 2025, starting right now, they have almost 700 people hired and working at Maryland Bethesda Game Studios? That's crazy. Well, why have they doubled their workforce? Because they're working on 2 games, guys. Microsoft came in and shook them by the collar and said, we're getting a Fallout out and we're getting it out quick. So we'll go into some of those specifics, but what is your thoughts on Fallout 5? Do you believe also when they said it's greenlit that they also didn't just put it in pre-production, they put it in full production? I get pushed back every time I say that, but I'm telling y'all, the evidence is overwhelming.
If they were to have 2 teams split directly in half, and let's just say you have 250 people working on Fallout 5, and it's been worked on for at least 2 years, right? Because Starfield is out for 2 years, like you mentioned before, so they're building off of that gap. It's right after something launches, start the next project. Yes,
yeah, Colt said space tape.
Yeah, and it would make sense to me that Fallout 5 would definitely be in production. And I mean, I still believe that Elder Scrolls 6 is still going to come out first.
Yes.
But after last year it was last year, right? When the TV show came out, it wasn't 2 years ago, was it?
Me and you were talking about that earlier. I think it was last year, but it may have been 2 years ago. I don't remember.
I don't even.
Y'all will have to tell us in the chat. We have,
yeah, guys, tell us in chat.
We have podcast brain right now. You can't think when you're on camera.
You cannot. And then you get off camera and you're like, I should have said that.
Yeah,
Whatever. I should have been picking my nose. But I definitely think of all the projects that are going on, we're obviously going to see more mobile Fallout games because Fallout Shelter did really, really well. And
they just got their biggest update ever for Fallout Shelter.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So it's still going.
It is still going.
It's such a great game.
They got their biggest update ever. Yes.
Yeah. But as far as my thoughts on how far Fallout 4 is in development, I would say at least 2 years. So I don't know if that means full production, but like I was saying, if you were to take 2 teams and split them down the line, have 250 people working on Fallout 5, and then you have 300 people working on the Elder Scrolls 6, and you have 50 people working on Starfield, unfortunately, or whatever. That would make sense to me. But even if the math doesn't add up there, I feel like a lot of the other Fallout projects are definitely way in pre-production. if Fallout 5 is the main focus. Because
Charles
they have to
says
bend the. Mhm.
Charles says that's misleading speculative clickbait. There's a strong reason why people push back on that. You're stating it as fact. Okay, let me explain it again.
Love it.
When the Fallout TV show came out, and if y'all remember, this was also right around the time of the layoff. So all of this was happening around the same time. Okay, this is very important. A lot of people miss all this. Microsoft literally, and these are confirmed, it's not speculative, this is confirmed. Microsoft had a meeting with Bethesda over Fallout because Fallout 76 went to 1 million players in one day. Okay. Fallout 4 actually had more players than that in one day after the Fallout TV show. So Microsoft literally in a panic says we're going to have a meeting with Bethesda Game Studios about Fallout. And it was all about we got to have more Fallout and we got to have it now. In fact, Microsoft went on, again, not speculative, it's been confirmed. Microsoft had 2 meetings with Obsidian about Fallout, and Microsoft had a meeting with InXile about Fallout. So all of this happening at the same time. Then when the layoffs happened, we have thousands of people getting laid off. We have projects being canceled. And both Phil Spencer and, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but the director of gaming, is it what's his name?
Emil?
No,
Wait, or
no, I'm
Microsoft?
talking about Microsoft.
Matt Booty?
Matt Booty, there you go. Both of them said we are going to focus on the things that are popular and that will be more successful. Fallout. In fact, the ZeniMax project was canceled because of Fallout. A lot of those ZeniMax people that were laid off are now working at Bethesda Game Studios, and they went over there for Fallout. So all of these things happen, and what y'all fail to realize is, and Colt knows this, I believe Colt did a video on this, BGS was literally reorganized by Microsoft to get games out faster because Bethesda Game Studios has 4 studios. And I have ranted and raved about this for a while now. For over 10 years with 4 studios. And think about this, Red, this is crazy. 4 studios over 10 years, they did not work on a single player Fallout or Elder Scrolls. 4 studios.
That's wild.
That's some mismanagement there. I don't know what I don't care what you think about Todd or anybody. That's mismanagement. That's crazy. So if there's one good thing about the Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda Game Studios is they're getting them back to focus on what's important, and that right now to Microsoft is Fallout. So then we got the news with all that happening. Then we got the news Fallout 5 is officially greenlit. And I just told y'all, and you can go look up the numbers, Bethesda Game Studios in Maryland grew by over 250 people. You don't do that at the end of the project. You do that at the beginning of a project, which is Fallout 5. So, yes, Fallout 5 is in full development. That's not speculative. Just look at the evidence. Are they going to come out and tell you? No, of course not. When are they ever going to tell you that kind of thing? But, yes, it is in full development. Sorry that was so long, but...
No, it's okay. I do that all the time. It's great. I love it. Whenever you have a thought in your head, you can't stop. You got to get it all out.
You got to get it all out. Yep.
And I think whenever you talked about mismanagement, they didn't get a single player game out. One of the issues was that they were really trying to rein in Fallout 76 for a long time to get it in a good working state to actually bring in money to fund other projects, because it is indeed a live service game. Live service games are meant to be a constant source of revenue. It's an MMO. MMOs are built on you free to play and then give us a bunch of money every year, right? And I think because of that, they did lose focus on what made them so beloved to begin with, But Fallout 76 is in such an amazing state right now. But I think even Microsoft knows what the fans, as in terms of popularity, they see the popularity with the Fallout TV show, and they're like, Fallout 76 isn't doing it right now. We need a banger. We need you to get on this right now, Todd. Stop this. So I totally agree with you there. And of all the studios that Microsoft has, Bethesda is definitely the one that they are going to push the hardest, without having to worry about, shutting down studios and stuff like what happened unfortunately with Arcane Studios and Tango Gameworks and whatnot. They just didn't bring in enough money. At the end of the day, that's just what it was. Perfect Dark, that game was in development for a long time and not, hardly anything to show for it. Tons of money wasted. That's just how business works. The layoff stuff, that's a whole other conversation. That is corporate greed, and I hate it so much. But when it comes to projects and studios with great pedigrees like Bethesda, if they're going to push anyone, like I said, they're going to push them. Do everything that you possibly can. We'll give you 1 million employees. Get us 15 Fallout games. We'll give you 8. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll give you 8.
That's
okay?
good. Well, and by the way, those 8 projects, and we're about to go over them. And if you want me to say it, okay, this is speculation that there's 8 projects, but no, it's not. It's the evidence is there, is what I'm saying. I'm not speculating. I'm just putting all the evidence together. Okay.
Yeah.
Fallout 76 just got the biggest map expansion it ever got, and we've been told now that they're going to continue serving the game for over 5 years. It's going to get more content than it's ever gotten. There's evidence that they're focusing on Fallout. Fallout Shelter just got the biggest update it ever got. What else is coming? I already told you about Fallout 5, so that's 3. We got the Fallout TV show, that's 4. Fallout 4 just got an anniversary edition. It was terrible, but that's okay. Yeah. They're still updating and trying to fix it, what they broke. But they're about to increase the mod size with Fallout 4, so there's you another one. Fallout 3 Remastered is coming. We've been told now by insiders, Jez Gordon is one of them, that says Fallout New Vegas is real too. Remastered is real as well. And then the last one, the 8th one, I believe 100% that Obsidian is making a spin-off Fallout as well, because again, they had those 2 meetings about Fallout that have been confirmed, and then right after that, who do they hire back? They hire John Gonzalez, which is the lead writer for Fallout New Vegas. Now they have hired Tim Kaine back, and they've got several Fallout pedigree there at the studio. But eight projects is amazing if that Fallout spinoff is true. The last thing I'll say about that, Red, I believe with my whole heart that Obsidian's doing something with Fallout, whether they're helping with Fallout 5, whether they're doing a spinoff like Fallout New Vegas 2, or the last, and y'all have heard me on the KingCast say this, the last possibility is they're actually remaking Fallout New Vegas instead of a remaster. But any thoughts on all that I just threw out there?
It's funny. I don't know. I feel like if Obsidian were to be utilized by Microsoft to do anything Fallout again, I feel like that they would 100% lean on Virtuo Studios to do the remaster and allow Obsidian to do a Fallout New Vegas 2 or a Fallout New Orleans. Like Colts has said that so many times, like New Orleans, New York. But in the lore, apparently New York is just a crater, so I don't think that's going to happen. But,
they actually, did you know that Fallout 4 was supposed to be New York? And they said they did not have the technology to do it. So Bethesda's actually wanted to do a Fallout New York. So I believe it might be in the future.
How would that work? Because like you think about like the Division 1, it was just like you run down a street, you go turn left, turn right, you know what I mean? Like as much as I would love it, I feel like there are better cities to use. But the more that I thought about it, I'm like, it works better for like a Spider-Man type game because it is the big sprawling city, or just any kind of superhero. Anyway, I would still love a Fallout New York because it wouldn't just be, there would be. Sorry, my brain is going wild. I would love that. I would love that. But I will say Obsidian, yeah, I think that they are better suited to, if they're going to do anything Fallout related, it's going to be a Fallout New Vegas 2. They would take the Fallout New Vegas remaster, give that to Virtuos, give the Fallout 3 remaster to Virtuos, and then allow Bethesda with their 7 million employees to work on Fallout 5, Elder Scrolls, and then finish up whatever they're going to do with Starfield before they take it out back in Old Yeller. So, yeah.
By the way, Fallout New Orleans, in my opinion, or let's see, my wife is from Biloxi, so she says I say it wrong. What is it? Nolans. That's it. Yeah, Nolans.
Yeah.
I would love that though. Being from Arkansas, anything close to Arkansas would be great. Fallout 5. Todd Howard says this. Todd Howard says Fallout 5 will exist where things in the TV show have happened or are happening. And then he went on to say this, and this has gotten me. I've been scratching my head over this one. He says that the show is avoiding some things and some key parts of the franchise because it would cause problems for Fallout 5. Now,
So they're following the lore
yes,
after the TV show. Yeah.
but you look at all the world building that they've done with the TV show, with the Brotherhood of Steel. We're about to see, a civil war going on with the Brotherhood of Steel. It makes sense to me for Fallout 5 to be San Francisco because we got all those hints in Fallout 4, and they love to hint forward. What do you think? Do you think they're going to go West Coast, East Coast? If they go to the East Coast again, you're almost avoiding the TV show.
Yeah, and if Todd, and I didn't, I guess I'd never got that full quote because I think I just got the part where Todd said, we're just following the canon. So whatever's happening in the TV show is now officially canon. So whatever happens in Fallout 5 will be reflective of what happened in the TV show and every game prior.
He has literally he has told the directors, do not use blah blah whatever it is in the TV show because that would mess up Fallout 5. So whatever this key thing is, yeah. I mean, what is it?
That's exciting. I mean, so I don't know, like,
is it a certain faction? What is it? I have no idea.
That's the thing. Like with factions, it's always interesting because for me, like if I was a game director or whatever, the interesting thing about the factions is that there are different sects of factions. Like we see the Outcast, right? The Outcast used to be Brotherhood, and then they went Renegade, and they're like, we're still going to use our power armor and use our the beliefs that we were raised on, but we're not following this particular thing anymore. You have like members of Caesar's Legion. I haven't even started season 2 yet, but I know you have defectors of Caesar's Legion that went on to make their own factions and whatnot. Then you have Fallout New Vegas, which had has been so long since I played the Joshua Graham DLC, but I can't remember whatever they were. There's so many factions, and I feel like for Todd to say like don't mess with any of the factions, they would have to have a very specific plan for them because like Brotherhood of Steel, obviously, like I would say the main faction. It's like the face of the franchise because the Brotherhood of Steel was built off of the military, the U.S. military and whatnot. So you can't really do a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of wiggle room with the Brotherhood of Steel unless you wanted to do something like an Outcast, but it's already been done. Then you have the Enclave, and that's just like nerdy lore stuff. But
I love the nerdy lore stuff.
And I do too. I think that it would have to do with the beginning and end of certain events that would contradict whatever comes next in Fallout 5. So, like for example, if I haven't seen the season 2, so don't spoil anything for me, guys. I don't know. But like I know Caesar's Legion is there, and this takes place after New Vegas, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so imagine if Caesar's Legion is just wiped off completely the face of the earth. It's just an example.
I believe we're somebody can correct me in the comments. I think we're about 10 years from that's approximately from the New Vegas, the TV show.
So it's so short. That's so cool, man. I hate when they're like, and 300 years ago. I don't hate it in the Elder Scrolls games because it makes sense. It's like each game takes like 200 or 300 years after each other. But I love when it's like short because it's like people reference stuff. Like I remember 10 years ago when that guy from Novak blew everything up in the
Yes.
I don't know what we're talking about anymore. I forgot the question.
It's all right. Let me get a few of the chat out of here. Shade says, definitely excited for Obsidian Fallout again. New Vegas is one of my absolute favorite games of all time. It's mine too. I've got it back here because of the choice and because of the factions. The Kings. You gotta love the Kings. You got Elvis in a dadgum Fallout. Come on, that's what makes it great. Matt says, King, did you mention to the people, those whom are regular to your channel, that BGS flew you out to New York ahead of the Burning Springs release, subsequently to help push future BGS projects? Yes, they did. I got to meet Colt there. It was amazing. Got to meet Juicehead, got to meet Maddie. I'd already met Maddie, but it was a lot of fun. I was trying to read here. Unexpected Outcome says, They did a good job on Outer Worlds being Obsidian, and don't forget they brought back a few key people that had worked on New Vegas. Yeah, two big ones. Obsidian has been Microsoft's go-to studio. They put out 3 huge games last year, which is
Nuts,
amazing to
man.
me. 3.
Nuts.
How did they do that?
I don't even know. I feel like it's focus. It's not about. Whenever you compare an Obsidian game to a Bethesda game, Bethesda games are just big, open, sprawling worlds that have no real direction. Obsidian is very focused, and it has a very clear direction with what it wants to be, and it also has a lot of the RPG choice and consequence game choices and whatnot. The answer is I don't know how they do it, man. It's insane. They got out Avowed, Outer Worlds 2. What was the other one? I'm blanking on it.
The where you shrink.
Oh, Grounded. That's right. Yeah.
Grounded 2.
Yes. Colt's favorite game of all time. He's like a million hours in that game.
Really? I've played it a little bit.
He loves it. Yeah. Well, he played it with his family, and I feel like that definitely elevated it for him. I need to jump back in because I was like, they need third person mode. Then they added it, and I'm like, well, I should have given it a chance. I need to jump back in. But yeah, Obsidian is an anomaly, man. But I do feel like they have a clear focus, and they have a lot of things under control. Whereas other studios have so many moving parts, it's sort of hard to rein in, I guess, maybe. But and the stuff that Obsidian puts out is quality. You never hear about Obsidian bugs. You never hear about weird
New Vegas was buggy, but they did get it out in 18 months.
But creation engine, and again, that's always going to be where people come back to. It's the creation engine. Get away from the creation engine. But then we wouldn't be able to sit in chairs and interact with pots.
It would not be the same, and you couldn't mod it the same way either.
Exactly, you can't Fusro Da an entire table of food off in the. In Dragon's Reach in Skyrim. Yeah.
We're actually running a little late. We're going to shut it down in just a minute. So if y'all got a big question, get it to us. I know I hadn't been in the chat near as much because Red has been very interesting to talk to, and I sure appreciate him being on. I do want to mention that next week I'm going to have Wreck-It Renee. That's another one that I met up there in New York. She's going to be co-host. And then week after that will be the 17th. I'm going to have the guys from Bethesda Unpatched on here. So that will be wonderful. Well, Red, what else do you got to wrap us up today?
Nothing.
I just put you on the line, didn't I?
You did, yeah. Starfield's alive and well. We're going to get Starfield 2, 3, 4 in the next 50 years. You mark my words. Don't you forget it. Please, Todd. Please.
Please, Todd.
No, I appreciate you so much for having me on, man. It's been a blast. And like you said, when you talk about Bethesda, man, it's like 3 hours, 1 hour. I have no idea how long it's been.
We went 10 minutes over, and it just felt like it went like that. I didn't even get halfway through what all I wanted to talk about. Y'all, please subscribe to Red. His link is in the description of this video, but it's also the pinned comment here in the chat. So the link's right there. Just click on it. It's an easy thing. It's free, and he would appreciate, and I would appreciate it too as well. Much. Well, man, I enjoy the KingCast so much. I enjoy getting to hang out with you guys. Thank y'all so much for being here. Red, thank you for being here as well. I love y'all. I love your support. God bless y'all. Y'all have a great